Hello. So, the fun I had in the last day is going to the endodontist and having two root canals redone because when they were done the first time years ago, they didn't get completed to the bottom of the roots, which then meant infection set in over the years. And because the roots weren't completely cleaned and dealt with. And so now I have to go back in and do it again. So I sat through, 2 hours of drilling, all kinds of fun stuff yesterday. And I'll go back in 6 months to have it finished so that the infection has time to clear out based on the medicine that was put in, and the bone has time to regenerate and grow back and all kinds of fun stuff. Which got me to thinking about roots and how when we deal with weeds in your gardening, you have to make sure that you get the root of the plant, of the weed, out. Otherwise, you've simply cut the weed off, mowed it over, whatever, but the roots are still there. So it's going to grow back and you're still going to have that weed in your garden. And it's the same thing with ourselves, with our minds, with our hearts and our souls, is that when we've experienced wounds, hurt, pain, trauma, it leaves a wound there, it leaves a root there. Oftentimes it's a bitter root, which then means we have a bitter root judgment against a certain type of person, a certain authority figure, a profession, whatever it is, because of the pain and trauma we've been through. And so then that judgment is still there, stays there because we've never dealt with it, which then leads to a bitter root expectation, which means anytime we run into someone like that, in whether it's a doctor, it's a chiropractor, it's a dentist, it's a police officer, it's a pastor, it's an older woman, it's a younger man, whatever your judgment issue is, then you expect a certain behavior from that person. Or you're dealing with customer service and you expect a certain thing, or you're driving down the road and you expect people to pull out in front of you all the time because then you get frustrated and angry about it. And then you attract more of that into your life, and those are the expectations you have, and so that's what happens. So what we have to do is step back and, just as Jesus said, we try and take the speck out of our brother's eyes instead of taking the plank out of our own eye. So we need to take time to do plank inspection and reflection and ask the Lord, what is the plank that I currently have in my own eye? What am I doing? And what am I bitter against? What am I still harboring a wound, still harboring a root against? What's going on? And ask Him to come in and show you the truth and walk you through the healing, and ask if you need help. Then ask the Holy Spirit who's supposed to help you and who's a trusted source, trusted friend, minister who can walk you through this. I know many of us have been traumatized by life, have been through hurtful things, have been betrayed. I mean, if you haven't, I don't really know if you've been a hermit in a cabin in the woods in the middle of nowhere or what, but it happens. So the question is, what do we do with it? And how do we get payment for our sufferings and get recompense for them and work through them in a way that we walk in wholeness, we walk in freedom, and we walk healed? So because oftentimes we deal with stuff and we just bury the hatchet, we just stick a band-aid on it, and we just treat the symptoms, or we treat the plant, the weed that's above the ground, and we don't truly get the shovel out, get the rake out, get the hatchet, whatever you need, and get after that root. So, my challenge to you today is to dig deeper, to open the door to your garden and ask Jesus to take a walk with you and walk through every row, every part of that garden, and look for the weeds, look for the rocks, and put some gardening gloves on and start pulling them out. And be ready to cry. Get your box of tissues ready, get your journal out, and ask others to pray for you and get it done, because on the other side of it is a bountiful garden that bears lots of fruit and a joyful heart. So know that you're loved, you're valued just as you are, and let's get after those roots so that we don't have to deal with them years down the road and it ends up being a lot more expensive. Be blessed.